Hey, so I am back with another one. So today, I was listening to one of Joe Dispenza's videos and one of his articles, and he was talking about how, the quantum field and everything like that, how it exists as these frequencies of all possible things that could happen, past, present, and future, all at one, and how like heart-centered emotions um, like line up with one of these possibilities. And he was also saying how like um, you know the feeling of suffering cannot carry your thought of health, or the feeling of lack cannot carry your thought of abundance. So even though you may be doing particular techniques, affirmations, or things like that, once you come out of it, you see that it's not there, and then you go back into the same habit of feeling frustrated, unhealthy, or just, suffering and things like that. And that may derail, the signal that you're sending out. So, like, when like he said that, it really made sense to me, because it's like it has to be coherent, like the signal has to be coherent. And then I looked up because radio waves, electromagnetic waves, Wi-Fi waves, it's all part of the electromagnetic frequency. And then I'm like, well, how does Wi-Fi or radio or whatever carry information? And then I looked it up, and it's like basically it was saying something along the lines like how the wavelength gets tuned to like a particular, there's a transmitter at one end and there's a receiver at the other end, and then the transmitter like modifies its wavelengths, and then on the other end the receiver that's tuned to the same wavelengths picks up on that frequency, and then converts that back to as an image, sound, or image, sound, or like a something you can hear, smell, taste, or touch, right? Like, when you're like on the internet, you can see a video, you can see an image, or you can hear the sound of it, right? And it decodes that information, and then it sends it back to you in a particular format based on, the information. So, and the same thing with like radio, it's either AM or FM, right? AM is like, something, I think the AM signal is modulated, and then with the FM, it's the FM signal that's like modulated, or like changed or whatever. But like with AM, the frequency stays consistent, but the AM part of it is altered. And with FM, I think the AM part stays consistent, but the FM part is like modulated or something like that. And then whichever, like when your radio is tuned to the same frequency of whatever signal that the radio station is broadcasting, then the radio sends that information back to you in like that you can hear the information in a format that you can hear through your sense with your five senses. So it's like that's when I was like, okay, but like it's like we're constantly emitting like a frequency, but then in order for us to send out like the wavelengths that we want, like the information for it to pick up, for it to be a coherent signal, we have to also, it has to be consistent, like the thought and the feeling, it has to be something that's coherent, right? That's synchronized. Because again, Dr. Joe Dispenza was saying the feeling of suffering cannot carry the thought of health. The feeling of lack cannot carry your thought of abundance, right? So you could be visualizing all these things, but if you're predominantly feeling the lack, that's also sending a strong message that you're in lack. So we definitely have to practice contemplating the joy that would be ours, contemplating the joy, asking ourselves how would we feel, what would we say, what would we be doing, and really embodying that. And maybe hopefully even when we come out of that, to try to keep up with that that feeling as much as possible, so that way our thought, and our feeling would be like, would correspond, and then could, like the signal, like he's saying, like that feeling of wealth, or that feeling of abundance or happiness or joy or gratitude, could carry the thought of your health, of your wealth, of that prosperity, of that the things that you're broadcasting. And then the quantum field, which all possibility exists, they would receive that as the receiver, and then it would convert that information, your thought information, in it would convert it as to something you can hear, smell, taste, or touch in the outer world, right? It would orchestrate everything on the outside world to produce that, right? Because it already exists, right? But you have to be that transmitter or that cause that will cause it to become something like that you can actually experience with your through your five senses, right? So it's like you have to send out the vibration or the wavelength, and then it will pick up on it, it will resonate with it, and then you will receive it. So that's something that I feel like we really also have to try to embody the feeling states as well, because if you're somebody like, there's also this debate like, oh, do feelings play a part, do you have to put the feeling into it, or it doesn't matter, or it's like um but I feel like if you are focused on being healthy or wealthy or love, and you're feeling lonely most of the time, those feelings also represent something, right? You have a set of thoughts, of beliefs, that why you're feeling this way. So it's not like something like the feeling. To have an emotion, you must first have a thought, and then that thought will that's why you're having this emotion. So the two are kind of like linked to one another, right? So I feel like the message that I'm really saying right now is we do also have to practice the feeling states, the emotional states that are tied to what we want, and also they're on after as much as possible, or just try to just be neutral, um, at least, or make peace with whatever was happening, or at least, and stop feeding into it emotionally, and trying to maybe take our attention off of it while we're manifesting what we want to manifest. But the fact that like all like microwaves, radio waves, Wi-Fi waves, all these different wavelengths are all light, and they're all tuned to different frequencies, like maybe 4.2, like 5.2, they're a different range, you know what I mean? And our thought and our feelings are also information, but are tuned to a particular range, and they can carry the information, like the thought. I can carry our thoughts, our, whatever we're visualizing, especially when the feeling and the thought are a match, right? When the two, it says in the Bible, when the two of you agree on earth, that request will be granted by my Heavenly Father. So the two of you could be represented as your thought and feeling, your idea and imagination, right? When these two become one, then that request will be granted by my Heavenly Father. And that makes perfect sense to me. When I really, think about how the information is picked up, right? So it's like we're transmitting, we can retune, our wavelength, or the information that we're putting out, and then it will be received, and then it will be decoded and converted back as whatever needs to be done. If it takes us to take a particular action, to receive a particular thought for someone or something, the weather to change, an object to move, something to take place, the end wills the means. The saying, the end wills the means. So when we visualize after the fact, or we have a new belief that good things are always happening now, I'm achieving more and more my goals every day. I'm becoming better and better, I feel so good, I'm good now. Or you just have a new belief that something is taking place right now, this is all happening to me now, my subconscious mind is doing this as I speak. And even if you don't have any visual evidence of it yet, you can still believe that, or embody that, and claim that to be true now, and just let it go, and just make peace with what it is, or just be neutral as much as you can, or just make that your goal. And I really believe that, yeah, this is the system, this is the format that makes absolute sense. And if you like this information, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm definitely going to be rolling out more informative information that will really help everyone, including myself. But yeah, I just really wanted to share that with you today. So yeah, I think I've covered what I wanted to cover for the day. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.